Numbers chapter 23. And Balaam says to Balak, Build 7 altars for me in this place, and prepare 7 bullocks and 7 rams for me in this place. And Balak does as Balaam has spoken, and Balaam also, offers a bullock and a ram on the altar. And Balaam says to Balak, Station yourself by your burnt offering, and I go on. It may be Yahweh comes to meet me, and the thing which he shows me I have declared to you. And he goes to a high place. And God comes to Balaam, and he says to him, I have arranged 7 altars, and I offer a bullock and a ram on the altar. And Yahweh puts a word in the mouth of Balaam and says, Return to Balak, and thus you speak. And he returns to him, and behold, he is standing by his burnt offering, he and all the princes of Moab. And he takes up his allegory and says, Balak, king of Moab, leads me from Aram, from mountains of the east. Come, curse Jacob for me, and come, be indignant with Israel. How do I pierce when God has not pierced? And how am I indignant when Yahweh has not been indignant? For from the tops of rocks I see him, and from heights I behold him. Behold, a people. He dwells alone, and does not reckon himself among nations. Who has counted the dust of Jacob, and the number of the 4th of Israel? Let me die the death of upright ones, and let my last end be like his. And Balak says to Balaam, What have you done to me? I have taken you to pierce my enemies, and behold, you have certainly blessed. And he answers and says, That which Yahweh puts in my mouth, do I not take heed to speak it? And Balak says to him, Come to another place with me, from where you see it. You see only its extremity, and you do not see all of it, and pierce it for me there. And he takes him to the field of Zophim, to the top of Pisgah, and builds 7 altars, and offers a bullock and a ram on the altar. And he says to Balak, Station yourself here by your burnt offering, and I meet him there. And Yahweh comes to Balaam, and sets a word in his mouth, and says, Return to Balak, and thus you speak. And he comes to him, and behold, he is standing by his burnt offering, and the princes of Moab are with him. And Balak says to him, What has Yahweh spoken? And he takes up his allegory and says, Rise, Balak, and hear. Give ear to me, son of Zippor. God is not a man and lies, and a son of man and relents. Has he said, and he does not do it? And spoken, and he does not confirm it? Behold, I have received only to bless. Indeed, he blesses, and I cannot reverse it. He has not beheld iniquity in Jacob, nor has he seen perverseness in Israel. His God Yahweh is with him, and a shout of a king is in him. God is bringing them out from Egypt, as the swiftness of a wild ox for him. For no enchantment is against Jacob, nor divination against Israel. At the time it is said of Jacob and Israel, Oh, what God has worked! Behold, the people rises as a lioness, and he lifts himself up as a lion. He does not lie down until he eats prey, and drinks blood of pierced ones. And Balak says to Balaam, Neither pierce it at all, nor bless it at all. And Balaam answers and says to Balak, Have I not spoken to you, saying, All that Yahweh speaks, I do it? And Balak says to Balaam, Please come, I take you to another place. It may be it is right in the eyes of God to pierce it for me from there. And Balak takes Balaam to the top of Peor, which is looking on the front of the wilderness. And Balaam says to Balak, Build 7 altars for me in this place, and prepare 7 bullocks and 7 rams for me in this place. And Balak does as Balaam said, and he offers a bullock and a ram on an altar.